So, jetzt kommen wir zum letzten Punkt des heutigen Tages, die letzte Präsentation von Iris, Raviv, Schinke und Katja Rademacher von Jochen Schweizer mydays Holding. Viel Spaß!
Well, are you guys ready for an adventure? Because we would like to take you on one. My name is Katja, and this is Iris, and we are from the Jochen Schweizer mydays group. We're selling experiences, so we would like to give you some. We're talking about our latest product, and with that, the focus on UX and engineer collaboration, and what we took up from it as female leaders. For that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Katja. I'm an engineering manager at Jochen Schweizer mydays group. I come from a front-end background. I've been a software engineer with a focus on front-end engineering for the last 6 years. I have a bachelor and master's degree in computer science, and I've always been interested in software and how things work since I was a little kid. And people have always told me, wait, software for girls? I don't know. That's not really doable. But here I am, and it's been a long time. But yeah, Iris, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi. So I'm Iris. I'm a UX consultant. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences and Humanities. I am a UX designer now, but I haven't always been. I actually shifted to IT after I became a mother about 4 years ago. I actually had a quite established career in a completely different field, in hospitality. But from what I know, a lot of women at this stage of their life, when they become mothers, are facing this kind of dilemma. Do I want to do what I've done so far? Do I want to shift? It has been quite a journey, and I would really like to tell you all about it. And I will as we go. Interesting fun fact, I actually met the JSMD, Jochen Schweizer mydays group team last year at this very conference at the ITCS, and that's how I joined the team. So it is possible to find a job at the job fair, and maybe now I can tell you a bit about our company.
So, Jochen Schweizer mydays group stands for the brands Jochen Schweizer and mydays. We sell experiences online on our e-commerce platform. And with that, we have 360 employees from more than 20 different nationalities. There's at least a slide race a day in our company's slide that goes from the 4th floor down into our courtyard. And we offer more than 10,000 experiences across both brands. So, what are the details of these brands? Iris, can you tell us more about it?
Sure. So surprisingly enough, Jochen Schweizer mydays group stands for 2 brands, Jochen Schweizer and mydays. Both are experience providers. It's basically an e-commerce platform that we have. And it might sound like it's the same idea, but these brands do speak to different audiences. So let me tell you a bit about the differences between them. Jochen Schweizer is your classic adventure, well-known experience provider, which we like to identify with testosterone and adrenaline. Basically, it's all about eye motivation, personal experiences, having an adventure on your own. And we like to express it by using blue tones and sharp edges. In contrast, mydays is all about togetherness. So experiences that we do together, perspective, we like to associate it with oxytocin and dopamine, and we express it by using red tones and softer edges. So we have these 2 brands, but what actually have we been doing with them for the last year?
Well, as we said, we moved them tandem. Jochen Schweizer and mydays group was combined in 2017. The idea was to have them moving them from the separate platforms to one platform together. And that's what we've been achieving over the last few years. In 2021, we moved Jochen Schweizer onto our platform, which is based on microservices and both on the back end and the front end. And over the last year, we then onboarded mydays onto the platform. But our most important goal was that the brands actually stay true to themselves, both in what they look like and what they feel like to the audience. Because they, as Iris mentioned, they do speak to completely different audiences. And for this talk, we would like to talk to you about the front-end part of the project. And for this, I'd like to show you guys what the both shops look like at the beginning of the year. As you can see, they look quite different. They have different structures. They have a different feel to each other. And we would like to tell you a bit about how we went about to make them one.
So how did we actually do that? Our approach for the front end part of the migration consisted of a few steps. The first thing that we did, we ran a complete analysis of both of the existing shops that we had. So we basically compared both of them, really checked what is performing well, and decided to really take the best of both shops. Not only to keep the identity of each one of them, but also to see what it is that each one of them has that is good, that we could apply maybe to the other brand. Next, we aligned with all of our stakeholders across the entire company. So this wasn't only an IT effort. This was something that almost every department in our company was a part of and was giving input into. It was all hands on deck. We ended up creating a special team for this project. As Katja was telling you, we do run on microservices. That means we have a few smaller teams in the IT, and each team is taking care of just one small part of the shop. When we wanted to look at the entire website, though, we couldn't do it separately. We had to bring everyone together and have the expertise from all of these different teams together. So we created this cross-functional task force consisting of engineers from all of the teams as well as designers. We had regular alignments within the team and also with our stakeholders. And the really special thing about this project for us was we took the opportunity, since we were anyway looking at the entire shop on both brands, we decided to implement a design system. This is something we did not have before. And since we were anyway touching everything, it was a chance to really implement a component library to have a coherent experience and easier work.
So we, of course, when you set up a team like this, it doesn't always run smoothly at the beginning, and we had to make some decisions along the way. One of the ones was to switch completely from Scrum, which we're using on a day-to-day business, to a Scrum-bound approach, because with more than 10 engineers and 2 designers, there's a lot of work going on with some tasks that needed to be in order, some could be done in parallel, but in some were smaller, some were bigger. It was really hard to estimate and to differentiate what can be done in a sprint. So we decided, okay, we'll go with what we generally think, but we have already prioritized the rest, and like really to get things done to really move along to that we went with the Kanban part of this part. And we've also really realized that we needed retrospectives to reflect and improve the setup with the 10 engineers and like this big team, which we don't easily have in a Scrum approach. One of the outcomes from the retrospective was to restructure the stand-up, because the way we'd have always done the stand-up on a daily basis, we ended up with more than 30 minutes of a stand-up per day. That is a lot of time, and it wasn't really effective. So the way we then said we would figure out that we could concentrate on the specific alignment between engineers and UX and PO, rather than also the alignment between engineers, and move the alignment between engineers out of the stand-up to reduce it back down to maybe 10, 15 minutes. Another result out of one of the retrospectives was to slightly change your workflow. Because the way we went about it is that the engineer works on something, then they get a peer review, then we test it on an environment, and we get a stakeholder review from the PO or UX. And with so many engineers working in parallel on things that actually affect each other, that we had so many dependencies that we needed an additional status to reflect, okay, what in your life, what is dependent on each other, what do we need to combine here so that we can move things forward. So that was, and we really used these approaches and a couple of more decisions and got the mydays onboarded in early September of this year, which was a huge achievement for the entire team. And after we've done this project, we looked back into it again. Iris, you can tell us more about this.
Yes, so we did learn a lot while we were working and reiterate it as we were going, but we also wanted to have a look once we were done and see what we could take with us for future projects that might require such a huge team, a task force, and what maybe we could already implement into our daily work that we are not doing yet. So one of the most interesting things that we could take away was really the teamwork between the UX designers and the engineers. We used to have a very straightforward process. I think a lot of companies do it this way, where we align a lot, we work very closely together, but the way we do it is our designers do their thing, we research, we come up with concepts, we design, and yeah, we align with the developers, but nothing gets developed before we actually are done with the designs. In this case, we realized this was not so productive. We found ourselves doing something a bit similar to pair programming. So basically, instead of two engineers programming together, we had a designer and an engineer programming and designing at the same time. This was very efficient. It's obviously not something you can do in all cases, but we would really like to take that with us and use it whenever possible in the future. In addition, as Katja mentioned, we had a very large team for this case. This is not something that is usual. It was necessary for this project, and it also worked well, but it just means in the future, if we wanted to have that kind of size of team, we would have to be really aware of the challenges that come with it. If it's communication, team spirit, different styles of work, that's something to just be aware of. Other than that, we were working in the task force, but at the same time, all of us were wearing a few different hats. So anyone who had a team before was still having to do the delivered tasks in those teams as well. That meant we were working in more than one team at once, and the rules became a bit blurry. What is working for this team? What is working for that team? And we realized we really had to define rules to make it clear and have the workflow go better. Except for lessons learned for the entire team, we also obviously had our own personal takeaways. Katja, would you like to tell us about yours?
Yeah, so for me, it was the idea of servant leadership, because I think as engineers, and specifically as a female engineer, I was always told, okay, you need to speak up, you need to prove yourself, you need to be as dominant as your male colleagues are, to grow and get more responsibility and get further in your career. But over the last year, I really learned different perspective of leadership, and really reflected that it's not, if everyone is the same way, then it's like it's so competitive about, oh, I want to do this, but I want to do this, or I want to do this, and I want to lead here, and so on. But the important thing is also to bring the team forward, is to take a step back and essentially encourage others to, or the people who might not be leaders by themselves, to equip them and to like really grow them and bring them forward and let them grow in their career. And that would really help me grow as a person and as in my career and in a different perspective, because over the time, that's what made me transition into the engineering manager that I am today. Yeah, that's me. You want to share yours?
Sure. So mine is a little different. As I mentioned before, I have gone through my own transition in my career shifts, not unlike mydays transitioning. I know it sounds a little funny, but I have to say I could recognize the similarities between my personal transition and transitioning a web shop onto a new platform. Basically, I could tell that there are very similar things that you should be doing or that would help get to a successful result. And I would like to share those with you now. So first and foremost, it would be being determined and be willing to work hard. Change is really difficult, and there are a lot of obstacles on the way. And if you don't have these things, you shouldn't even start. The next thing that is important is identifying what you already have that is valuable. So just like for mydays and Jochen Schweizer, we had to look at the best of what we have. I also, when I was shifting my career, I was looking at myself and trying to recognize what are my skills, what am I good at, what is transferable, what can I bring with me to a new career. Other than that, finding your people is key. A career shift is not a team effort. Migrating mydays was, but you still have to have the right people. So even on a personal level, when you try to get into a career in IT or in any field, you need the right people to surround you, people that motivate you, people you can learn from, finding a mentor. This is all really important. And last but not least, iterating as you go. So just like we were iterating in our project, also when you shift your career, you need to know it's okay to fail. You will for sure fail. There will be obstacles, and that's okay. You just have to find another way to solve those things.